Test it down. Yeah. So, right, I've Donal and Doreen here. We're going to go through, we'll say, calving this cow. But just before we start it all, tell me about, I suppose, facilities. Facilities on beef farms. Are they good enough? Do they need to get better? Where are we at? First to you, Donal.
I suppose in my own experience going around, most people nowadays have some sort of a calving gate. They have a fairly good sculling gate on it, something to catch the cow's head. And like, even you see with this cow, now we don't see this too much, but she's 2 fine horns on her. If you get caught by that cow, it's a significant injury.
We just didn't get round to the horn, but we will. But she got in by Martin on the gate today too.
Was she not in the suckler scheme, Adam?
No. Yeah.
It's an important time to remember, like when cows are calving, like we've all been there, we've all seen a cow turn around and go for you.
So you're saying a minimum of 1 calving gate on every beef farm?
Yeah, absolutely. And you should have a calving gate that's going to restrain the cow's head and to can come around to keep her in against the wall. So we're going to have it in the corner, head out through the gate, and at the side of the gate or part of the gate can come around here and be tied behind her, tied into the wall.
Okay.
And most people are familiar with that. Most people nowadays would have a setup like that.
Okay, so cow starts to calve, showing the signs of sickness, going around the pen, tail up. How long are you saying, we'll say, to leave that cow before you start to intervene, before you start to handle, or God forbid you have to ring the vet?
Okay, well, if people want to look up at the slide there, that's what we have there, sort of stage 1 of labour, where the cow is going around. She's a bit uneasy, maybe she's a bit of slime coming out, you know she's getting near calving. At that stage, you just leave her alone until she moves on then to stage 2. Stage 2 is the start of it. So stage 1 is the cervix is opening. Stage 2 is when you start seeing something. So stage 2, you're going to see a bit of a water bag, you're going to see a toe, you're going to see the nose.
And what are you saying in terms of moving out to a calving pen? Are you saying, we'll say, the minute bones start to drop, move her out to a calving pen, or what stage are you saying to move on?
Look, everybody's system is different and the number of pens you have is different, but ideally she should be moved out well in advance of calving, and she should be in the environment she's going to calve in for at least a day beforehand. So before she gets into stage 1 calving at all. Doreen, would you comment on that?
Yeah, the one thing there, Adam, is you were suggesting there that calving is an emergency.
Yeah.
We have to get away from that.
Yeah.
A calving is a normal event that happens on a farm. And it doesn't have to be a family event where we're all out in it. It just happens.
She may do it herself.
That's right. So that, I think that is the first thing. Yeah. So I mean, that, right? And myself and Donal, we were just discussing.
Most cows will do it themselves.
Most cows will, yes.
The vast majority of cows will calve themselves.
Yeah, and the other point we were saying there, myself and Donal were chatting prior to this, is what would be great is if most herd owners actually just sat down some night and watched the camera and see how long it took a cow to calve naturally.
Okay. And don't panic.
And don't panic, because it could be anything from 20, up to 40 minutes.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, which would be perfectly normal. So just see the normal first.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? And because calving, it's turning into too much of a panic in farms and turning into too much of a family event.
Okay.
Well, it is a natural event.
Yes, okay. That's fine.
And maybe just to add to that now, cows want to calve on their own. So you want to leave them alone and not be interrupting them. So ideally, if you can watch from a distance or watch from a camera, that's the ideal situation, and let them work away themselves.
Okay, she's at it now 3 hours. What are we saying?
Sorry, the other thing then in the facilities, right, we were just discussing earlier, is there's difference between cows calving and heifers calving.
Yeah, okay.
Because sometimes first calved heifers, their vulva doesn't soften as much. Do you know when you get the real tight vulva from being around the calf that doesn't open? So the trick with heifers is moving well in advance to the calving box.
Okay, because you put them off calving if you're moving them.
Exactly, and if you cannot move them well in advance, wait till the crubs are out and then move them into where you want to calve them.
Okay.
The worst time to move them is when the tail is out, especially for first calvers.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've all seen there, if you start moving them when they start calving, what happens? They stand up and they walk around and they stop calving. So the more you interrupt them and the more you change things at that stage, the slower they're going to be about calving.
Okay. If I do have to handle, we'll say, so what are we saying in terms of hours? Right, a cow is at, as I said, there are 3 hours. Is it time then to be investigating to see what's going on here? Is there something wrong? She's not making progress. She's quite agitated in the pen.
I'm going to say that if you've seen a water bag, once you've seen a water bag more than 2 hours, you definitely want to be going and investigating. But do remember, all cows are different. If you have a heifer, say a small heifer that shouldn't have got in calf, and you know she's in calf to a big bull, well then you want to be going looking a lot sooner.
Okay.
And see. If you're not seeing something starting to show fairly quickly, and you're sitting in the house watching on camera, and you're not seeing her make progress, then go and look. But as a minimum, if it gets to 2 hours and nothing has happened.
What are you
then-
looking for when you put it in your hand there? What are you looking for? Like, what in terms of, are you looking for lots of space? You're looking for 2 feet essentially coming.
Yeah, now, none of us can ever tell you what size calf is going to come out. Like, it comes from experience. But basically, when you put in your hand what you want 2 front feet and a head coming. Okay, they're the main things. And then we've all, like everybody here has calved cows, you all have an understanding of what's going to fit out of a certain size cow. So there's certain ones you go and you put your hand in the foot and you say, there's no way that's going to come out.
Okay.
And there's other ones there you look at, that's going to slip out, go away and leave her alone and she'll calve away.
Some people
herself.
would say if I can get my hand in across the crown of the head, there's a good chance he'll come
Yeah,
over.
that's one of the rules at home. But it does come from experience. How hard you push in your hand to say you can get your hand in. If you can get your hand in freely, well then you're probably laughing.
Yeah, I think the big thing, Adam, what's far more important than anything is what progress the cow's making.
Okay.
If the cow isn't making progress, there's a reason why she's not making progress.
Yes.
So if you put in your hand, you don't know how long she's calving, and everything is normal, you have 2 legs and the head nicely sitting there,
Yeah.
right? And the water bag isn't burst, and the water bag is clear.
Yeah.
I mean, you know that, I mean, she's at the start. Well, if the water bag is blooded, or if the calf has made its dung in the water bag and it's green, that calf is under stress. Would that be?
Absolutely.
It's time to panic then.
It's never
we won't
never time
panic,
to panic.
but it's time to do some intervention, Adam, at that stage.
Lubrication. At what point will say do we go in with this? Is it-
Sorry, the other point there you said
Yeah.
about getting the hand behind the calf's head.
Yeah.
I think for dairy guys that's far more applicable.
Okay.
But if you take sucklers, especially what Martin likes coming in here, I mean, and if you take a lot of blues with the light bone and the small little head,
Yeah.
that'll feel very small, but it's what's behind it is the problem.
Okay, right.
And that's where the farmer's experience comes in. He knows that certain cows throw bulls with big hips. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to ask the farmer when I go, what's she and calf to, and what's that bull like to calve? So whether it's a stock bull or an AI bull, what his experience of that bull is hugely important.
Lubrication. Is that the point we'll say we go in with this, or at what point are we going in with this?
You never put your hand into a cow without lubrication.
Right,
So if you're putting your hand in to feed anything, you should have a glove on and you should have gel on the glove.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that you want everything to slide nice and smoothly inside the cow so you don't injure the inside of the cow.
Okay.
Any sort of handling is going to do some amount of injury, minor enough, hopefully, but the less damage you can do to the cow or the less pain you can cause, the better she's going to be after calving and the quicker she's going to be going back and calf.
And if you look up here, that's the cervix there just starting to open, with the calf's legs coming through. And the cervix opens twice in the cow's life. When she's in heat, it opens a little bit, and when she's calving. And that's the natural barrier.
Okay.
Right, so that's open at the time of calving. So it's absolutely crucial you're clean then, and you're actually going in handling that cow.
So we have to go to assist this cow, right? We're not going to panic, as Doreen says. We're going to assist her. So get on the kid, Donal, because you're not coming near a cow of mine without gloves on you. Doreen, I would say, in terms of just using your experience in terms of timings and that, like in terms of, what are you saying in terms of hours? Are we talking 2 hours, are we talking 3 hours? Like, if there's no progress being made, like,
that's
what are you
right,
saying?
if a cow is going around with her tail for 2 hours, so I mean, and you know she's there for 2 hours, so I mean, I definitely handle her and see what's going on.
Okay.
Equally, if you came along a cow and the blister was out, perfectly clear, I mean, no major amount of blood in it, so I mean, no calf hadn't dunked into it, I'd give that cow 2 hours.
Okay. Positioning the jack on the cow, Donal.
While holding the microphone.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we're going to move over to our second demo cow in a second, but in terms of
the first thing we're going to have to do is we're going to have to move her tail out of the way.
Okay.
So you might do that now.
Could be a problem.
That could be a problem, Adam.
She's just too quiet.
It's important not to get our tail, like obviously we can't move this cow's tail, but it's important not to have the cow's tail stuck under the jack. It's only going to be getting in the way.
Okay.
So push the tail out to one side.
Okay, right.
No.
Right, so in terms of, I suppose, help, again, we'll say at calving time is of great use, but in terms of positioning the jack, we'll actually move over maybe to the next demo, because we can do it better over here. Bring over your ropes with you, Donal.
Just to point out, just before you go there, the reason why like these moor park heads are designed like that they're going to hold up over the cow, but sometimes where you run into difficulties with very big limousine or Charolais cows, huge big cows, that they don't quite fit on, and sometimes you might have to adapt it a little bit by widening these out yourself to suit your cows. Or if they're falling down too much, I've seen some people put something across, like maybe a strap or a chain, to stop this falling down. can be quite useful. I know Doreen, you
Yeah,
might
so
comment on
we
that.
basically don't want it to slip down too low.
Okay.
Right? Equally, we don't want to get it to come up here and stop the calf coming out.
Okay.
I mean, so there's nice balance to have it well under the vulva.
Okay, yeah. So we're going to move over to our next demo model. We'll come back to this lady in a second. I know, Doreen, you want to knock her in a second to do an angle when she's laying down. Right, jack on here. Ropes, Donal, bring over your ropes. Talk to us about ropes. You mentioned before here about, I'll bring over the white ropes.
Can people hear me without this microphone? Yeah, okay, well, that'll make life a lot easier. So, we have a number of different types of ropes. Okay, so these are the first ropes here that Adam has. Okay, these are common ropes that used to come with jacks years ago, but maybe we've moved on a lot from these. The first thing about these is when they fall on the ground, you can't find the damn things, okay, because they're lost in the straw. So that's the first thing I'd say about them. Now, the other thing about them, once they get used at all, they get very hard, and they're a lot smaller than the good ropes. So I'd say they get very hard, and they're quite hard to get on. So I don't like them personally.
Okay.
So we'll forget about these. They come free with the jack, and we're forgetting about them.
No.
Okay.
These are the ropes that I generally speaking use myself, and they've got a lot more common. They're Vink ropes. Obviously, if you drop them in the straw, you can find them again. Now, they're also a lot softer, so people can see these maybe afterwards. They're an awful lot softer and they're an awful lot thicker, so you're far less likely to do damage to the calf by pulling them.
And you've 2 knots made there in that rope now, Donal. Just explain the 2 knots.
Yeah, the 2 knots, we'll see when we go to put them on the calf's leg. The first knot you can use, but what I would generally speak and do is double the rope like this and have it that you pull on the second knot. So the second knot, you want to make them fit to suit your jack and to suit what you're doing with your calves, so that you can use both knots depending on what you need. And in some cases we can use it to pull one leg in front of the other leg. Now, I know myself and Doreen talked about that early on, but I'd just be cautious. If you need to be really pulling one leg in front of the other leg, you want to be fierce careful what's going to come behind that. Like, if you need to pull out one shoulder first, be very aware of what's coming in the hips behind.
Right, folks, this calf is getting stressed.
These are obviously Adam's ropes, and you can see here the knot here is too close.
Okay.
So I mean, the knot here is too close, absolutely serving no purpose there, only making it difficult for you putting the rope on the calf's leg. So that knot is too far up altogether.
Doreen, the benefit of the ropes being different colours?
One for the left and one for the right. When you put on your ropes, you put blue on the left and red on the right. So you know when you're pulling them, you know what way you're pulling. Okay, that's what I would go with that.
So are we waiting to get this calf, we'll say, up further in terms of, we're going to bring him further, we'll say, maybe before you start, we'll say, obviously manipulating him with the jack.
Well, I'd say, Jason, somebody may go and push him up a little bit now. So.
You have a good long arm, don't you?
Now, I suppose if we look at here, this plastic here is like the cow's uterus, and you can imagine the cervix is somewhere here, and this is the cow's vagina. Okay, so when you're working in the cow's vagina, it's reasonably strong. It's much stronger than the uterus, so it's reasonably difficult to damage a cow's vagina. But if you start getting out into her uterus, that's an awful lot easier damage. So you want to be very careful when you're working in a cow's uterus. Now, it's not that length. If you're talking, Doreen, how far in is the cow's cervix?
About this far, max, yeah.
Somewhere there. When your elbow is at the outside of the cow, you should be feeling the cervix if it's not fully opened. If it's fully opened, you won't be able to feel it. And once you go in further than that, you're in the uterus, and it's much more friable, much easier to tear than from here out. Okay? Now,
and Donal is putting in his hand there quite free, so I mean, and so forth. But if the cow had a twisted uterus, Donal.
Yeah. So I suppose the thing about twisted uterus, oftentimes people get caught out and say, I've got calls to say the cow was calving there a couple of days ago, and then the humour went off her and she never did anything. So when you put in your hand here, it should go in freely, and you should feel the calf freely with nothing blocking them. Okay, so if the uterus is twisted, what tends to happen, as you put in your hand has to rotate like to get in. Now, I suppose what I'd say, Doreen, with twisted uterus is, generally speaking, you want to be getting to call a vet at that stage.
That's what I just hold on to that. So that's the vagina normally, but when you get in a twisted uterus, it usually twists 360 degrees. So when you put in your hand, like what Donal has to do here now, he's to kind of turn around to one side to get in.
Or if it's enough twisted, there'll be a full block and you won't be able to get in. But if you think she is calving, at that stage you want to be ringing the vet.
That's right, so that's the important one, Adam. Where
Yes.
you see the cow calving, right?
Okay.
You see her uneasy, there's nothing out,
No water bag,
no,
nothing.
absolutely nothing, and then nothing happens, right?
Yes.
And this is the one then the Donal gets called to 2 or 3 days later.
Too late.
Too late, because the uterus is twisted, blood supply cut off, and you have a dead calf.
Okay, Donal, get this let out.
Okay. Now,
See,
we're
this
in
is
here.
Adam panicking, right? Right?
Yeah.
You have to slow down, relax. This is normal.
The straw costs €60 here, Doreen. I'm looking forward to this
Okay.
calf.
No, but the other information you'll have is that you'll know what the calf is out of. I mean, whether you expect a difficult one or a not
Yeah.
a difficult one.
Okay.
Right? And you also know how long she's carried with time.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
okay, what's
In
she
the
in calf to now, Adam?
BYU.
Oh, what's your experience
Yeah,
now?
no, good. It'll be a good calf. It'll be a good calf.
Okay, when you put in your hand, you can feel freely now. So we've one leg, another leg, and we've the head. So everything is coming okay.
Okay.
So we want to pull him out. Now, generally speaking, we're not going to be putting on ropes that deep inside the cow.
Okay,
So
yeah.
usually what's going to happen is the calf will be shoved on up another little bit. Here's likely to where we're putting on ropes.
Now,
Or
if
just outside.
it was a case of a malpresentation now, right, we have this foot, this guy's feet is they're not that pliable, but we'll say if that foot was back this way, just show us.
Will we calf him normal first?
Right, we'll calf him normal first, right, that's
Yeah.
all right.
She's
Get on
in
there,
a
man.
rush
Get
now.
him, get him out, yeah, get him out.
So we're going to put the blue rope here on the left leg, keeping your knot down to the bottom. Keeping your knot down to the bottom is less likely to do harm. And then we're going to double the rope like this. Now afterwards people can come and look at this themselves and see. Now my first knot, if you can see, is after coming through that. And that's the way it'll work on a real calf's leg as well. And then we're going to do
Okay,
the same.
so the big thing that is the knot at the bottom. I mean, not the knot above at the top, right? And by putting the double loop in it, you're spreading the pressure to the pull.
Now we're putting on the red rope onto the right leg and the same thing. First loop above the fetlock and second loop below the fetlock, and trying to keep your knots down to the bottom as well. Now we're not thinking about a head rope or anything here. Generally speaking, we're not going to use a head rope. There's plenty of space for the head to come out.
You have your own
in this
opinions on a
side.
head rope. You reckon if there's a head rope needed,
Yeah,
there's problems.
I think.
Hold on now, Adam is mad for the jack. We're just after putting on the ropes. The puss isn't out yet. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we can try a little
Right.
bit of a pull as the cow forces.
We're going
Yeah.
to give one rope to Adam, and I'm going to take the other rope to pull it. So you can catch the red one there.
Well, hold on. Are you going to pull him first
We're
without
gonna,
the jack?
no, we're just going to pull him out a little bit now. We'll
Right,
try,
right,
we'll try
right,
and get
okay.
the feet out.
He must be able to see you, Adam,
Go
before
ahead.
you put
Okay,
on the
'cause it's
jack.
a job, I'm not paying you to be that one.
So Doreen, two men pulling. It's a live calf now. Isn't it? Two men pulling is roughly equivalent to what?
About 160 kilos of pull weight.
And the jack is maybe
The jack
5 or
is up
6
to about
times that?
250.
Okay.
Jack is
so
a dangerous.
Yes, and a cow on her own usually is about 175. So the cow is 75, 2 men will bring it up to 160, and the jack then will bring it up to 250.
Okay.
So
But the
two-
important thing is, wait till you see the eyes, Adam,
Okay.
before you really go
So-
for that jack to start pulling. Would that be a fair comment?
Yeah.
Eyes are out.
The nose out and the 2 feet out a little bit. And two men will usually, if two men aren't getting the calf coming out that bit, then it's time to certainly stop and think, is it a case here that we're going to go for a section?
Because progress is everything. Progress is absolutely everything.
Jack on.
Now, and the question
Now-
is, if the calf is not coming at this stage, it's not his head that's caught, it's the shoulders. Would
Okay.
that be a fair point, Donal?
Yeah, and the shoulders are caught in the pelvis. And maybe Doreen there has a pelvis, a model of a pelvis.
Doreen, you better bring the gel back with you.
Sorry?
You better get that gel.
Double knots going over the
Oh,
wall.
yes, yes.
Two vets and
Double
one
knots off
farmer.
the
If this cow's not alive, you're in trouble.
Just
Right.
off the double knot
So
above as well.
this is what the calf has to come through here, and as his shoulders is coming through here, his head will be coming through the vulva. So often herd owners think it's the head that's not coming through the vulva, but what's really happening, his shoulders is not able to come through this bone here. Would that be a fair comment, Donal?
Yeah, and if you hold up that pelvis there, it is quite tight.
Yes, this is. Do you know what I mean? This is just a plastic pelvis, but it is quite narrow.
Right, once I get the eyes out, I can go. Keep going.
Take it easy.
No,
though. Don't
Adam.
panic. So,
He's starting to curl the tongue now, Doreen, here.
so what we're going to do is we're going to pull until the ropes get tight. And by the ropes tight, now we've just taken off the double loop here just for easiness for demonstration. But on a live calf, you'd have plenty of room in the ropes for that. So if you can push the 2 ropes together with your fingers like this, so finger and thumb and push the 2 ropes together, that's okay. If you can't touch the ropes, then it's time again to stop and reevaluate and think, can you actually get the calf out?
Okay.
So at this stage, you can pull on.
Am I too late at this stage in terms of going back, like in terms of ringing the vet
No, at this stage you're not too late now.
Okay.
Okay, so we just barely have the eyes out, so at this stage we're certainly not too late.
Okay.
Okay?
So if I'm panicking now, the calf isn't going to come, I don't think, just down tools,
take off the ropes,
ring the vet.
ring the vet,
Right.
and leave her alone.
Okay.
Okay? Now, okay, so at this stage, we want the calf tight, the ropes tight, and the jack straight.
Okay.
Calf come forward, the jack is to be straight. Now, as the cow forces, we're going to go down with the jack.
Okay.
Okay, so you're watching, and the cow is going to force, and you go down with the jack with her. Okay? Now, as the cow relaxes, you come back up again, and you tighten the ratchet.
So I'm working with the
Okay.
cow.
Yeah.
And the important
Now,
thing to remember,
Keep jacking until the ropes are tight again. Now, this calf is coming fairly easily now, so...
Is there a point, if he's stuck at the shoulders there, is there time to panic then if he gets stuck at the shoulders?
no, the one thing to remember, if the calf is continually stretched like this the whole time under pressure, he cannot breathe.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's the important thing. If I
Okay.
stretched you like that the whole time, Adam,
So-
you couldn't breathe, right?
Okay, I'll take
so
your word
what
for
you
it.
do is you jack when the cow is forcing,
Yeah.
and when the cow is not forcing, you rise up the jack
So
and let the calf
pressure
relax.
off the calf and he can breathe.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because it's continuous pressure, just can't breathe.
And now, often at this stage, the calf is coming fairly easily. So you can ratchet away at this, and the calf is coming out nice and handy at this stage, and there's no panic. Now, the next place you're likely to
Wait
get
for it
caught,
now, wait for it.
likely to get caught, next place is at the hips.
Yes.
Okay, so we've the ropes just tight here now, she forces, and we go down. And it doesn't come.
Okay, so what we have here now is the calf is out. We've got the shoulders through here. The next, and then the head came out. So the next piece here now is the calf is cut here. So it's bone and bone.
Okay.
The calf's hips is cut here in the pelvis of the cow.
Okay. Now it's time to panic.
No,
No.
no. There's never a benefit in panicking. So the big thing at that stage, like Doreen said, if the calf is stretched, he can't breathe. If you relax and take off the pressure, the calf can breathe, and then there's no panic. So I've often gone out to calves, stuck at the hips, and maybe it could be half an hour by the time the farmer get back into the house or get his phone to ring me, and by the time I get out, and the calf would still be alive as long as you don't keep pulling him. If you keep pressure on him, you're going to pull him, you're going to kill him in a couple of minutes. So the big thing is relax.
Getting your hand in to twist the calf in any way or getting lube in at this point, is there any point in doing that?
At this stage, you're not going to be able to get lube in that far. You're not going to be able to get lube in around the hips at this stage. So you can forget about lube at that stage. Trying to twist the calf, so if you can get the calf like this and rotate him a little bit. Now, if you look as we rotate the calf, it turns the bones here in different orientation in the pelvis, and quite likely he'll slip out nice and easily like that. Okay? Now, if he doesn't come out at that stage, you can try turning the cow on her side. So most likely the cow is going to be down at this stage, and you can get, if you have help, you can turn the cow up on her side or even up onto her back, and oftentimes that'll again get the calf out. Do you want to add anything to that, Doreen?
Yeah, and I think if we just get that cow on her side, Adam, in the ground.
Right. Toss
just-
that cow down.
How about this poor calf?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I'm
Adam,
going to
you've
say that.
after all this, you've thrown in the shit.
You needn't be billing me for that, lad, Donal.
And he's a freezing on top of
I told
us.
you it was a section. I told you before we started it was a section.
Donald, just when the lads are doing this, and it's a very relevant point, not to make light of it.
Adam, we'll win it down
Farm
this way.
safety around the calving of the cow. You have a cow down her side, she's probably frailing, the front legs are going, the back legs are going. Just a few tips around farm safety around the calving time as well. I think it's important.
Well, I suppose the big thing we said in the start is to make sure that she's in a skull and gate. Now, we've also said that she's after going down. So it's important when she does go down in the skull and gate that there isn't a bar under her neck that's going to choke her. So it's important that the skull and gate goes all the way down to the ground, and you can release it if she does go down. I think, Justin, the real danger comes from when the cow is up, not so much when the cow is down. We all know that cows kick with their back legs, so we don't do anything foolish. We don't come in here behind her back legs where she's likely to kick and hurt us. Her front legs are minimal enough risk, and as long as she's down, she can't do a whole lot of harm to you with her head. So it's just to be careful behind her back legs. It's a big danger area when she's down. Now, maybe just to be careful, we've all seen when you're calving a cow and when you put pressure on the jack, the cow can go down quite suddenly and violently. If you end up being in between the cow and the wall, that's not a great place to be. And also to be careful that the jack doesn't hit you. Okay?
So if the wall is here, I have the jack here, I am not here in the wall and the jack here.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm on the outside here, the wall is there and the jack is here.
Yeah. And just to bear in mind as well, most people are right-handed, and it's far easier to calve a cow with your right hand in the cow with her right side against the wall. The advantage being to the left side is out for caesarean as well. So your calving gait should always go this direction. Sculling gait there, wall to the right.